Of Hollywood say every box office smash these days is a sequel or even a sequel of a sequel. Producer Lynda Obst has seen the changes over the last several years.
Her new book is called Sleepless in Hollywood, Tales from the New Abnormal in the Movie Business. It is published by Simon & Schuster, a division of CBS. Lynda Obst, good morning, and thanks for being with us.
You are executive producer of Sleepless in Seattle, among many other films. But you say that Hollywood was built by risk takers, but it's become utterly risk averse, and that films like Field of Dreams, Forrest Gump, Moonstruck would never get made now.
That's exactly right.
What's happened?
Well, we don't make one-offs anymore. It's very rare to see a one-off, which we used to call a movie, because Hollywood is now in the business of making franchises, which are movies that can be sequelized and then sequelized again and then sequelized again until you get a very successful franchise. Like Fast and Furious, which is on its 6th iteration, because those movies are basically business enterprises which can make billions of dollars over and over and over again.
One of the things that struck both Anthony and I about the book is the notion of DVD sales. This used to be 50% of the business. I don't think anyone would be surprised to hear that's just been eaten away.
Well, there was an utter collapse in the DVD market, which is responsible for the almost extinction of the one-off movie. And what happened is in about 2009, technology, piracy, basically collapsed the DVD market, which was the profit cushion of the movie industry. The movie industry makes 10%, functioned on a 10% profit margin, which is not very much when you think about it, because the numbers seem so astronomical, but it functioned on a 10% profit margin. And then when the DVD collapsed, people stopped buying the DVD library or the DVDs of their favorite movies because they suddenly could download them for free.
Right.
That completely destroyed the profit margin of the business, and suddenly it was operating on a 6% profit margin. So what came to replace those profits? Well, they looked around and they realized it was the international market that was
That's the one place where business was actually growing. And hugely in China and Russia, correct?
Exactly. So in China in particular, which is now the second largest market in the world, is going to be the first largest market in the world in 2020. The theaters are growing and growing exponentially.
The numbers out of China are staggering in your book. China grew 30% last year, 400% over the past 5 years.
It's staggering. It is going to be the largest market in the world.
Well, so are we going to be making movies for China, basically?
Yes, basically we are making movies for China. Transformers 4 is a co-production between Paramount and China. What China wants are familiar brands, explosions, 3D, special effects, because they want things that are spectacularum. They want things that can only be made in America. They want things that only our technology can produce.
What scared me was that you say the business model for Hollywood has basically turned upside down.
That's right.
It used to be that 20% of the profits were overseas. Now it's the opposite.
It's the opposite. It went from 80% domestic and 20% foreign when I began in the old abnormal, and now it's the opposite. Now it's 20% domestic and 80% international. And that's truly astonishing in 10 years.
So what does this mean for a producer with your strengths? I feel like when I look at the movies you've selected, Hope Floats, Sleepless in Seattle, we see strong women, we see strong female characters. How have you had to change what you do?
I had to start working more in a medium that loved women, that loved original ideas, that needed more and more of them, and that's television. And I wasn't alone. There was a huge exodus of writers who were no longer needed on the assembly line of franchises. Writers who wrote dramas, writers who wrote nuanced comedies with wit. And all of us went to join the golden age of television that had been spawned by the growth of the cablers. HBO had been doing such great pieces. Then Showtime grew in its wake. And now there's this enormous proliferation of new venues where new ideas are encouraged.
Lynda Obst, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so very much.
Thanks.